Let's take Peter, Simon Peter. Once full of doubt, Peter became a powerful preacher. He also performed miracles and converted thousands to believers of the Messiah. He was eventually crucified upside down in Rome under Emperor Nero. Fed my sheep, John 21, verse 17. Feed my sheep, Jesus commanded to Peter, which was fulfilled. He followed the commandment that he was given, knowing that he would ultimately, most likely, perish. Andrew preached in modern-day Turkey and Greece. He ended up by being crucified on an X cross in Patras, Greece. James the Greater, son of Zebedee, preached in Jerusalem and Judea. Zebedee was the owner of the big boats that Jesus and the disciples went on the Sea of Galilee, and to which they were called to follow Christ. James was the first disciple to be martyred. He was actually beheaded by King Herod Agrippa. You can find this in Acts 12, verse 1 to 2. John, the Beloved, as he was known for his gospel and revelation in the book of Revelation, he survived persecution and exile to the island of Patmos. He died of old age. He was the only disciple to die of natural causes. Philip preached in Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey. He was martyred in Hierapolis, crucified upside down. Bartholomew, or Natalia, evangelized in India, Mesopotamia, and Armenia. This poor man was frayed alive, skinned alive, if you will, and then beheaded for his faith. Matthew, also called Levi, the former tax collector, wrote the Gospel of Matthew. He preached in Ethiopia and was killed by the sword. Thomas Didymus famously doubted Christ's resurrection. You remember the story. He went over and he touched Christ's wounds. This is found in John 20, verse 27. Thomas traveled to India, where he established a church and was later martyred by being speared to death. James the Lesser, son of Alphaeus, ministered in Jerusalem. This poor fellow was thrown from the pinnacle of the temple and then beaten to death. Thaddeus, Jude, son of James, evangelized in Mesopotamia and was clubbed to death in Persia. Simon the Zealot preached in Persia and possibly Britain. This poor guy was sawed in half for refusing to worship idols. And the replacement for Judas Iscariot, Matthias, found in Acts 1:26, preached in Ethiopia and was stoned and then later beheaded. Pretty gruesome endings to the lives of these holy men. Now, there were other disciples, there were other followers. The women were the ones that supported the men in their sojourns. There's not much mention of these people, the men and the women who were not the 12, but I'm sure their faith was just as firmly established as it was in these now icons of the Christian faith. Before the resurrection, these men were confused, fearful, and often misunderstood Yeshua's mission. He was the Messiah, and he came to fulfill the law. But as I mentioned previously, the resurrection changed everything. Seeing the risen Christ gave them unshakable faith, a courage that would not be silenced, even under threat or penalty of death. They knew that this world was temporary, that this body or life was material and wouldn't last. They knew of the greater existence in the heavens above. Their bold actions fulfilled the words of Christ. Ye shall be witnesses unto me in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost parts of the earth. This is found in Acts chapter 1, verse 8. Christ was making a prophetic statement, telling these disciples that their greatness would reach to all corners of the world.